I've never realized that I wanted to pursue a career in aviation. It just happened. Well, no, my degree is in tourism. It was a given one that this was the area that I sort of ventured into, but it could have been, of course, many different areas. And I started off in the corporate PMC space, working for American Express, which has been very useful. And I still, of course, keep in touch with a lot of friends and people in that industry to always circle back and ask them, what do they think? Which I think is so important, that sort of holistic view on everything, which I sort of see that people tend to lose. They don't involve everyone in the industry, and I think that is really, really critical to do that. It's been curiosity. When I've been offered a job, I started off in Amex. I was then contacted by Amadeus because I did lots of work for Amadeus when I worked for American Express. And they asked me, why don't you come and join us? And then the next step was that I was approached by an airline who suggested that, why don't you come and work for us? So it's been, and it's always been curiosity. I think that's been my main driver more than anything else. Some jobs I've really taken because I wanted to understand how does it actually work behind the scenes. It's just so exaggerated, and I think it's just so tiresome that we constantly hear that, oh, it cannot be done, because aviation is so different, it's not going to work. For instance, I don't know how many times I hear every week, retailing is never going to work in airlines, ever, forever and ever and ever. And that's just wrong. Of course it can work in airlines. Yeah. What makes it challenging, of course, is the international regulations, and of course, everything revolving around that. That is, of course, something that you have to consider. But there are other industries that face the same. I mean, I'm thinking banking, I'm thinking shipping, I'm thinking lots of. There's actually industries that are far more regulated, or just as regulated, you can say, as aviation. And the startup culture, I mean, I've worked for several startups. I love it. It's like, it's all this energy, right? It's just absolutely amazing. It can be, it has its challenges. And of course, I understand if you're a large traditional airline, you cannot become a startup, but you can certainly you can strive towards breaking down the silos, and you can strive towards having, if people are interested in learning, different aspects of the airline, embrace that, encourage that, and just create that kind of environment. Well, you know what I mean with the environment where you feel comfortable asking questions. We've all been there, right? You've asked a question and people laugh at you in public, right? And that is like, well, when you're younger, it's mortifying. Nowadays, I kind of just go, yeah, whatever. And I mean, people have laughed at me. When I first started talking about retailing, people were laughing at me. And so I'm so used to that. But it's mortifying to someone young, who's just started in an airline, and that kind of mentality. So just embrace the questions and help people along. The most important is to listen, and also try to get the focus around what are the opportunities. People tend to talk about the challenges the whole time. They can talk to you for a whole day about the challenges, but I much rather that you start off with the opportunities. What would you what would you really like to change? What can be done better? How can we change, for instance, the processes? Does it have to be this complex? And I'm an advocate for process change, very much so. I wanted to be a vet, you know, that was my big dream. And I still sort of think I should have been a vet. No, of course I'm not. Of course I'm happy, yeah. And particularly happy that it's taken me all across the globe. I've lived and worked in 12 countries. I've had the opportunity to meet people from all over and work on every continent. I've made friends that I would never have, probably had the opportunity to meet and make friends with. So of course I'm happy. And I think it's been absolutely, it's absolutely brilliant to see, to meet airlines, for instance, in Africa or in Japan or in Europe or in the US. And, they're not really all that different. They may think they are, but not really all that different. They've got the same challenges and the same opportunities mostly.